Hello and welcome to Read the Last Page,
a book club
YAP SESH,
with your two favorite long-distance best friends. I'm your host, Dan.
and I'm your host, B. And how are you doing today, Dan?
Oh, I'm doing well. We've had really lovely weather this week in... Oh, I almost had in Missouri. And then last night we had like really crazy storms. It was kind of scary. We had like tornado weather, and this was our first of the season, which I guess is...
Keep going.
I was going to say is kind of early, I think, just because we had like, we were in like the negatives a few weeks ago, and then we had like a real quick turnaround where we just had a bunch of like really nice weather like in the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously storms were brewing, but it was just kind of scary. Like the winds were insane.
Yeah, that I was gonna say, like, that happened to Kelly, I think yesterday or maybe the day before, like where she lives also.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, the wind was kind of picking up, and she like she was gonna drive home, but she like accidentally took a wrong turn or something. I don't know.
Ooh.
So she was like, oh, let me just like stop at this favorite coffee shop of mine. And then once she got in there, she realized there was like a tornado watch or whatever. And so she was like, well, I'm glad I'm not driving.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, like we were under tornado watch when I was like leaving work yesterday. And like my boss was like, you might want to get out of here a little early just in case. And I was like, oh, okay. So like I got home and my roommate had like because we don't have a basement in our apartment, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so we basically just have like our best storm shelter is our pantry. So she like cleaned out the pantry so that we had enough space and like got all the cat carriers out. Ooh, it was scary. But
all three of you guys can fit in there?
No. So, Catherine's not here this weekend. She's actually in Kansas City. But
I was curious, like, wait, that's a huge pantry.
like maximum two of us might be able to fit.
Yeah.
And even that would be tough. But we also have like a half bath that's connected to the like not connected to the pantry, but like on the other wall.
Right.
And so like that's also safe enough that like one of us can be in there. But it's just rough. But nothing happened to my town. I think like southern and eastern Missouri got hit a little bit. So like,
oh really?
Truly peace and love to everybody out there. I hope everyone's okay. But it's just I hate tornado season. It's so scary.
There's really not like a threat of that here, which is interesting because it's just like, tornadoes are so, like, it's just kind of a normal part of Midwestern life. And like even like my sister that lives in Texas, like, like their house just like doesn't have a basement, like because the houses there just don't have basements. And it's like, what if there's a tornado? But it's like, you're really not going to get a tornado down there.
Yeah. Well, like that's like the thing is like when I was first moving out to the Midwest, I remember like tornadoes for me, obviously as a 10-year-old, I was like number one concern, definitely scared of that. Don't want anything to do with that. Yeah. And like I remember our first tornado. Do you remember in like the 6th grade when like there was a really big tornado, not a big tornado, but like the first tornado that kind of hit our hometown?
I kind of
and we were in school,
we were at school,
and we were like in the bathrooms like
yes
like that changed me as a child. I was literally like, this is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. And like, it's so scary. He's horrible. It's not just like, and I mean like every kind of natural disaster like is kind of scary like that. Like hurricanes are terrifying, earthquakes are terrifying, but I think it's like tornadoes are like one of those things that like you genuinely like mass destruction is almost a given, and like there's no time to really get away. And so like you kind of have to just like hope for the best, because it's like, I mean, hurricanes luckily you kind of get a warning for most of the time, and like earthquakes, I mean, they can be very bad, but like a lot of times it's kind of just like, okay, just like get under a surface in a safe place and it'll be over in like a few minutes. I don't know a lot about earthquakes. We've never had them. But like, it's not as scary. I just feel like tornadoes are like so scary.
We had an earthquake here like last year. Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was in New York, but it was close enough that we felt the aftershock.
Yeah.
And I remember like being in my apartment, and of course, like I'm on the 5th floor, so the higher up you are, the more you feel,
Yeah.
because
Ugh.
it's like more unstable. And I
Yeah.
remember I was like, what the heck? And then like we got to work and like everyone's like, oh my gosh, did you feel it? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. It's not fun if people's homes were crushed or whatever, or things fell. So I don't know if that happened, so sorry if it is, but it was like kind of it's like kind of cool, like, oh, we all experienced this together, you know what I mean? Like when we
I
all got to work, it was like, oh, like I was sleeping and then it woke me up and I was like, I was getting ready, I don't know.
Yeah. No, and what's so interesting about the East Coast is like even though like earthquakes and tornadoes are like more rare to see up there, it does happen. But it's like you guys have to like kind of prepare for like almost all the scary stuff. Where it's like
Yeah.
I don't ever have to worry about a hurricane.
Yeah, true.
Like I'm fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like on the opposite end of that, growing up in the Midwest,
Mm-hmm.
to me, a hurricane always seemed way scarier than a tornado, because a tornado is just like, oh yeah, like, well, we get those all the time.
Really?
But I was like, a hurricane, like, ah! Yeah, like, but I feel like they can both be just as devastating in different conditions, but a tornado was like, that was sort of normal to me. So the hurricane seemed like, yeah, scarier.
And I mean, like, I've never experienced a hurricane before. I was really lucky during my time on the East Coast where, like, we didn't really get impacted by anything scary. I did, for some reason, I flew to Disney World during a tropical storm, and that was really terrifying. Like, imagine being in the air and like through a tropical storm. Like, not fun.
Just like a ton of rain and stuff.
Like, yeah, like really horrible turbulence. Like, there was one point where like our plane kind of like dropped.
No.
Because like we hit like an air pocket and we dropped. No. I know that was like one of the most scary moments of my life, I think. But like, yeah, but for the most part, I never worried about hurricanes. But I do remember coming here and like talking to people about tornadoes and being like, isn't that like the scariest thing? And you guys were like, it's just a watch.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just a watch, it's fine.
Yeah,
as long as it's not a warning. It's only scary when the sirens start going.
Yeah. When I was flying home to Missouri, like just a couple weeks ago, our landing was like, something rough about that descent, it like made my stomach drop, like when you're on a roller coaster, and I was like, I don't think that's how that should feel. Like everything was fine, like we landed fine, but I was just like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I'm never gonna feel comfortable on a plane, I fear. You guys can give me your Jello theories all you want about how it's so safe to be in the air because of the way the pressure of the air is. I don't know. I don't care. It's scary to me. I'm never gonna get over it.
Yeah, that's life.
Anyway, how are you doing, B?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I've got my chocolate chai. This is Oregon. It's Oregon chai with chocolate protein shake.
Okay.
My best kept secret that is no longer a secret. Actually, I usually do it with the vanilla, but when I went home, my mom let me take some of the protein shakes back, and she just had chocolate. So, if I'm drinking them on their own, like, I definitely prefer the chocolate over the vanilla. But with the chai, it's like vanilla kind of goes with the chai better, but both are good.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm fine. I didn't sleep enough last night, but hopefully that will make me tired and I'll go to bed.
Yeah.
Have a good time tonight. Yeah, as you guys know, I started a new job nannying some kids and that are rich, and I made some mistakes of looking up how much they pay in school tuition, which was like super shocking to me. It's just very interesting, just very different lifestyles, and it's like I feel like I'm like experiencing like a family that like I've seen in movies or like heard about, but I've never like met in real life, and So the joke has kind of been that I'm in my Jessie era because I'm like pursuing performing arts and like nannying for a wealthy family. No, I don't nanny all day like the way Jessie does. I just go after school like a couple times a week for a few hours. But the crazy thing is, guys, I met Bertram from Jessie at my other job. I work at a theater and I usher. So, like, I sit people as they come in. And what's crazy is I normally work the balcony, like the upstairs. And for whatever reason, I got put on, like, the center orchestra that night. And Kevin, I can't remember his last name. Kevin Chamberlain came in. Immediately, I was like, that's Bertram. That is Bertram right there. Just so happened that, like, I was right there ready to seat him. And, so, like, I looked at his ticket. I'm, like, trying to act so normal, like, taken to his seat. I was so dorky. I was like, are you Bertram? He was like, yeah. And I was like, are you cool with, like, a selfie? Or he was like, yeah, okay, sure. But I didn't have my phone on me because I was charging it.
Oh, no.
So my friend, like one of the other girls that was working at the door, I was like, give me your phone, give me your phone. Well, she doesn't have an iPhone, so I'm like looking at this, I don't even know what kind of phone, like, you know, I'm like, I don't know where the camera is. I was like, where's the camera? Because I didn't want to like hold him up and like make a big spectacle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, stand in the aisle for 5 minutes while I go track down a phone. But she got it open really quick. We just took like one selfie and I was like, thank you. And anyways, that was probably the most starstruck I've ever been. Like, that's the biggest star I've ever met.
That is so, it's so good to me to know that, like, that was able to happen to you in New York. And it's like, I feel like so many people
in my Jessie era.
I know, it's so true. When you moved to New York, I was like, you're going to be around so many famous people, just like randomly on the street, whatever. That's like so beautiful. But like, I don't think you've really had too many encounters. I mean, you saw Billy on the street and Will Ferrell one time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I don't know if I said that on the pod or if you're new here. I saw, Billy Eichner doing Billy on the street. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And I strategically timed, like, cross the sidewalk so that I'd be, like, walking by him at the right time.
Yeah.
But it was, like, he was doing, like, old white men for Kamala or something. So it's, like, which I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but it's like, okay, they weren't gonna stop me. You know what I mean?
True.
But
True.
like I did follow the, you know, like the little crowd of people for a little bit. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also thought I would see celebrities a lot more, but the thing is, I probably am passing like people that are on Broadway and stuff.
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
sure I'm passing them all the time, but like I just don't.
You don't
know what every single person looks like. My roommate that used to work at a restaurant, she worked at 2 different locations. Like one was like Tribeca area, one was somewhere else that's like a little bit more lower. She would sometimes see some like famous people. The singer, I don't know how to say her name. Laufey. One of the girls from, I want to say one of the girls from Booksmart, but I could be wrong. But like, yeah. So anyways,
don't tell me that.
She's seen some cool people.
That's cool.
She also saw Elliot Page on the subway one time.
Elliot Page taking the subway.
I know. And my roommate is pretty tall, and Elliot Page is very small.
Oh.
And my roommate was like, I was so shocked to see him like in person, like so tiny.
Just being a normal human and not on a screen. Yeah. Oh, so, I love that. I'd be so starstruck.
Like, yeah. I don't think she said anything, but like I probably wouldn't have either, but like I would have been freaking out.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways. So yeah, that's how I'm doing.
No, that was a good story. I like that. I feel like you got into the habit of just like being like, really like casual text like, hey, guess what, or like, hey, what's your favorite Newsies name, and then just like sending me like the most insane image of you with this person, it shocks me every time.
Yeah.
And it's never out of jealousy, but it is out of a bit like, man, that's
which is why
so insane.
I'm gonna say it again. We gotta get you up here.
I'm not gonna run into anyone in New York. Also, I'm very much the type of person who I don't think I would ever like probably approach anybody if they were famous. I think I would probably just be like, if I were to approach them, I'd just be like, I love this movie you're in. Okay, have a good day. Bye.
Yeah. But, and honestly, yeah, it was something about Bertram specifically. I was like, I have to get this picture. Yeah. Because I was like, I know Danielle's gonna freak out. I know my sisters are gonna freak out. Right. You know? Because I always imagined that too, just saying like, oh, I'm a big fan, like, love this, you know, and like not asking for a selfie. Yeah. But I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah, that's so valid.
But if we go see a Broadway show, we can wait.
Yeah, stage door.
And see people. Because that, like, that's how I met that Newsies that you like.
True. Yeah. True.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone, let's start
a GoFundMe.
Patreon. Yeah. And all the proceeds go to Danielle coming to New York and seeing a Broadway show.
I also was thinking the other day, our 1-year anniversary is coming up.
True. Maybe for the 1-year anniversary we launch it.
Patreon. And here's the thing too, it's like I think what I low-key want is just to make more goofy content for me and you.
Yeah.
And that's
like shorter videos.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
What like the Patreon could be like so slay for. I think it would really be fun.
Should we, you know what would be cool too? Since nobody seems to want to email us and
yeah,
and like, nobody wants to like thank you if you've left comments on our stuff. We love that.
For real.
But we're not getting a lot. What if we made like a Discord that was like for our
the people
community, and then it's like you can have a different tab for like each book.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean?
That's a very good idea. And also, I just don't know how to use Discord, but like I'll learn. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's not too hard.
Okay, good.
I think. Well, I've never ran a group, but I can try.
I have to troubleshoot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay, big moves for year 2.
Big moves. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so this episode we want to dedicate to some of our favorite characters. And these are from the most random assortment of things.
Just like things that me and you are really attached to that have no connection to anything else.
Kind of like founding fathers of our friendship and like iconic movies, shows. There's a couple books in there. And just like things that we both love and like what's our favorite characters from them.
Yeah, I hope this is interesting to
I don't know.
The public.
I know. So, some of them that I was writing, I was like, I mean, I feel like this is everyone's favorite, but let's talk about it anyway.
I know.
You know?
Well, here's the thing. It's like luckily for me and you, I don't think in our friendship, we're not a very esoteric we're not that type of people. And so
like we're not going to be saying like what is it, Snape is our favorite in Harry Potter or something.
Yeah, or like I was going to say like we're not going to be bringing up what's your favorite A24 film or something, like you know what I mean. A24 is not even known. Yeah, like we're very in the mainstream, guys. Yeah. Sorry.
I thought you were going to say like, oh, this is my favorite character because like at the end he finally, you know.
Ew. If you looked me in the eye and said that Snape was your favorite, I would have to terminate the friendship. I would have to be like, yeah, peace and love to you, but I have to go. Sorry to anyone who Snape is your favorite character. I just feel like that's...
But also not.
That's kind of a dumb... It's kind of a dumb character to have as your favorite. Out of all the characters, whatever. It's fine.
Anyways, we don't even have Harry Potter on here, so...
No. Trust.
There you go.
We're fine. Oh my god.
Okay. Should we just go? This is the most random order, but just in the order that we wrote them down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That works.
Well, starting off as you guys, okay, everyone guess what you think the first thing we're going to talk about is.
Thing we mention every episode.
Little Women.
Duh. Yeah.
My opinion is based mostly on the movie, and I'm only about halfway through the book, and I've been reading the book for like 5 years.
Right.
So it's mostly based on the 2019 movie adaptation.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And you know me, some of these I'm not going to have just one because I can't. But
yeah, that's fine.
Of this, or I'm going first, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah,
no, jumped in.
First.
Okay. Of the sisters, I would have to say my favorite character is Amy. And I really love all 4 of them for different reasons. And like I really see the value of each sister and what they bring to the story and to the sistership and the family. But I think Amy's story for me is like, I think she has maybe the most arc in a way.
Yeah.
And I also kind of relate to her a little bit in some ways, and I just love the good things that she stands for, and I love the way that she's like, I want to come along and I want to be included, and I just love her. I also love the way that Florence Pugh performed her as both the younger and the older version.
She's so good.
I also, this is like kind of not that deep about her character, but like I love her outfits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love her little braids and like hairstyles that she has.
Yeah,
I agree.
And like her first, I don't know if this is like her first scene in the movie, but it's towards the beginning, like, stop the cart, it's Lori, you know, and like the way that she says to Aunt March, like, it's Lori, like, you know, it sets up so much like tension for the rest of the movie, like the way she's like, it's just Lori, ... you know. I don't know, I just love Amy. But overall, out of the whole movie, I also have to say Marmee. Like, I know.
She's so good.
And I think this last time I watched it in like December or January or something, I've always loved Marmee, but I just saw like there's just so much depth to her character, and she's in a lot of ways she's like in the background, but like her presence is like amplifying the qualities of each of her daughters, you know what I mean? I love everything that Marmee stands for, and everything, all of her wisdom and her quiet strength, you know. I just think she is amazing. She's Marmee. She just is.
She's just so Marmee.
So yeah.
That was good. Yeah, I feel okay. So I read the book and watched, I think, a majority of the adaptations. There's like one of the older versions I haven't seen yet, but I would say, and this is gonna be so boring, but my favorite is Jo March. Of course. I just feel like, listen, not only do I think she's like obviously the most prominent character in the story, so like it's so easy to latch onto her and just love her, but like she's just like, her entire arc is about like wanting agency and wanting like recognition, but also like she has like this deep craving for like love, and not only that, but like to be loved. I feel like she goes on such a complicated journey throughout her story, and I don't know, I just like I feel like her arc is just so beautiful and lovely, and to have her have been this character that was written in the 1800s by somebody who like deeply related to her is so, I just love it. I feel like she's a character that forever is just going to like remain so relevant and amazing.
Yeah, very timeless.
Yes, I just love her. But also I will say though, if we are picking from like the 2019 version, I think Amy March is one of like the greatest, most beautiful interpretations of a book character ever. And just like knowing her history of being a character that many people took out of context, maybe not out of context, but like, you know, like a lot of people paint her as the villain and like refuse to kind of give her the like the leniency that she deserves as a younger sister.
The youngest,
yeah, and like everything in her character is also seen in Joe, and I just feel like they're two sides of the same coin. It's true, but like everybody reads Amy wrong, and it's like, in my opinion, if you're a Joe March lover, you have to be an Amy March lover.
Yeah.
And I think that the only adaptation that truly has successfully done that is Greta Gerwig's Little Women, and I just love seeing that on screen. So like Amy in the new one is very important. It's very important to me.
Well, and I think, okay, and I haven't seen the older one, so I can't compare, but it's like, I feel like Amy's character of sometimes being the annoying little sister and sometimes being a little bit maybe bratty, or like, you know, when she burns the book, like that's like, that's really mean. But it's like, that's low-key realistic of how sisters are. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that the little sister stays little and annoying and bratty her whole life. Yeah. You know?
It's so interesting because Amy reminds me so much of my little sister. And then like in the same sense, Meg reminds me so much of my older sister. And so I that's why, and I mean, this is not an interesting thing to say at all, because I feel like this is why so many women love this story, but like that's why it's so important to me, because I just like see my siblings reflected so well in the media, and it's just like I feel bad for any readers or like movie watchers who refuse to like give Amy the benefit of the doubt because they cannot see their own siblings or their own friends or people who they love reflected in her character, because if you did, I think you would just be a lot more lenient and understanding of her character, and also B, in a way, understand how in retrospect that could be kind of funny. Like in 20 years we'll laugh about this, while like Joe also still harbors a bit of resentment, but like she gets it. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I know, I just love that movie and that book, just the story in general, incredible.
2025 I'm finishing that book.
Girl,
trust. Yes, it's right here, guys. This is unplanned, but I have this really old copy.
That's gorgeous.
I got it from like an antique type store. Like you can tell, look at this beautiful picture in there.
Wow.
I was trying to see if I could see like when this version was published, but it's like literally so old, there's like not even like a publication page. Like,
oh shoot, okay.
Anyways, okay, next. The Hunger Games.
This was hard for me, actually.
Okay, I was gonna give like a disclaimer for all of these. I went quickly through this list, and I just like the first character that I was like, oh, that's my favorite. Like I just wrote it down.
Put down.
So like, if I really analyzed every single character, my opinion might change. But like, these are just what I felt when I was writing this list. So
okay.
Do you want to start though?
Sure, I can.
Like we can go back and forth.
Yeah. I have a couple favorites from here. The first one I thought of was Finnick, just because as a preteen reading, I guess I was a teen officially when I first read The Hunger Games, but very young still. Finnick like broke my heart. Genuinely, I think he's one of the most heartbreaking characters, at least in the story, maybe in all of literature. We can say that. But just like, I feel his story, when you really unpack it, is just so unjust, and like it just is really painful. And also I like that, you know, he has an arc, but like when you zoom out, you realize it wasn't actually an arc at all. It was just when we first met Finnick, he had to portray himself as a specific person. But then the more you get to know him, the more you're just like, oh, he was always on the right side of history.
Right. Yeah.
That's why we love him. But I will say, though, I reread The Hunger Games, I think before The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out. I was reading through all of them, and then I read the prequel. And I realized I just am a Haymitch truther to my core. And when I was younger, he was a very prickly character to understand. And then once you just get him, you're like, this is a man. This is a father. This is a character with depth and emotions and just like so much range. It's so timely too right now because the book comes out this week.
I know. Yeah,
it will be out by the time we post this. So I hope everyone's been reading.
We got to get that on our list probably.
I think should we do it next month?
Yeah. Wait. Are we gonna? We gotta buy it though. I don't have it pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk. We can talk.
We'll talk. Anyway. But yeah, I'm very excited for this new book. I feel like it's gonna peel back a lot of layers of Haymitch that we haven't gotten to like really see yet. So yeah.
Okay, so I had literally the exact same thing. I wrote Haymitch.
Wow.
And what I was gonna say is when I was younger, I didn't necessarily dislike him, but I didn't really get him. I didn't get it. And like over the past years of like I've reread the books at some point, like when I was in college, and I've watched the movies a few more times, and like I'm like, there's so much to his character, and he's really like what Katniss needs. He's like what Peeta needed at some points. He's what Effie needs at some points.
Yeah.
Like, he really is just like this central rock, even when he's like, you know, under the influence and like he not really grounded, but like when he needs to be, like he's the person that all these other people are relying on, even though that's like a really hard burden for him to carry. Like I just think like I'm very excited for this new book because when Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out, I just like, and I love the Hunger Games trilogy, but I wasn't like, I didn't like have a specific goal to read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But then when the movie was coming out, I was like, okay, like I should read the book first. And then the book blew me away, which I should have expected because the original trilogy is incredible. And so like now I'm like, like I need to read this book. Like, so I'm excited to just love him even more, like love his character even more, and like understand his character even more.
And isn't it so lovely that Miss Suzanne Collins is just so brilliant, and the fact that so many of her characters are not what I guess you would expect, or they're so much different from their first meeting and your general observations to who they end up being in the end. Because I mean, another character I have on my list is Joanna. And like that, I love her. And like she's such a feisty character, and like you're so cautious of her at first.
I love her.
And she's just, but also when you zoom out, she is not, it's not like she goes on a character arc at all throughout the book.
She's just who she is.
But our feelings just change the more we get to know her, and it just makes me like, that's how all the characters are, I feel like. I mean, other than, you know, like Snow and like Coin and like Coin flips in the end. Sorry, we can't get into too much, but just
hey, that's why her name is Coin.
Yep.
Okay.
Genius.
Parks and Recreation.
That's a real kind of jump.
These are just like the order that things came out of our brain, so there's no rhyme or reason. I wrote Ben Wyatt, duh. Sorry.
Really? Sorry to the girls who don't get it, but
he's you look up Laura's type in the dictionary, there's a picture of Ben Wyatt. Like, it's so funny because I actually was like just watching the like where he first comes into the show and then like into season 3, and it's funny to see how they kind of did a really quick character arc for him, because he comes in all like your budget blah, blah, and they call him Mean Ben, and then all of a sudden we're seeing this little soft side of him that I don't think they intended like for his character to have until everyone saw like the chemistry that him and Leslie had.
Yes.
And it's just interesting to see.
Good. It's so good to me because if I can jump in, so
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
It's just like when we meet him, he's this very uptight adult who is is like very we have to follow the rules. We can't mess up. There are reasons that things are in order, etc. And then you come to learn that it's because he has this trauma from adolescence because he became a mayor at like 17 or 18. I guess 18. And that like causes him to be someone who's like really scared of failure and public humiliation, and so he's not a very fun person or lovable person to be around. But then he meets Leslie, who is the most optimistic type of person, where she's constantly failing, but that is not stopping her from trying again, because in the end she refuses to let anything stop her from making a change in the world. And because of that, it like changes who Ben is as a character. That's like beautiful. That's a lovely character.
I was just watching the part where they're getting done with whatever their like initial assignment was, like Chris and Ben.
Yeah.
And they're like, Chris is like, so like our director said we should move on to this town, but like maybe we like need to stay here and like see things through. And it's like yeah, definitely, like we definitely should do that, because like Chris is kind of into Anne. It's just
right.
It's so sweet how they're both like yeah for work reasons. Reasons.
I love them. Oh, I love Parks and Rec. True. Well, so yeah, Ben Wyatt was also my pick. I will say, as a quick runner-up, April is very important to me. She's also somebody who like, she's got a lot of character development, but also what's great is she doesn't do a complete 180 at all in like her personality. I think that can be said for almost every Parks and Rec character, actually. It's
they
like
just
they all
mature into themselves.
Like, and that's how it is in real life.
Something else that I didn't even write this down, but I was just thinking, Tom Haverford is somebody that like if I knew this man in real life and if I worked with him, trust we would not get along and I would not like him. But there's something so amazing about him as a character in this show. Like his character, I feel like it's probably like the actor is just like, he does such a good job and it's so believable that I don't know, I've just been thinking that like as I've rewatched, like Tom is so good because I'm like, he's so committed to the bit all the time, you know what I mean?
Yes,
but it's
I agree.
But I know that if I knew him in real life, like I would not like this guy.
But
like I really like him as a character in the context, you know what I'm saying?
I agree. I just love him and Leslie together. And I think his rare moments of sincerity always just hit me the hardest, because I'm just, it's so unexpected. Great characters. Love.
Six of Crows, which, okay, if you guys, we can just go over this briefly because we've gone so deep into this, but I just thought of it because it's just like one of our favorite shared books. So
yes. Okay, well, who's gonna guess what I'm gonna pick? Okay, Inej is my favorite. The chat is sick. Me talking about Inej. This is so, I mean, I've said it before, but I'll say it 100 times. She's just such a rare character for me, because she's somebody who's thrown into this very kind of gruesome and this world that's so opposite of who she is as a person, and it's just really lovely to see her adjust to doing what has to be done, but also keeping her really strict set of morals. She stays like a very gentle, loving character, even though some of the stuff she has to do is not so gentle or loving. I think just like that dichotomy of that is so fascinating, and I just love her. I want nothing but the best for her. She's my girl.
Yes. Everyone guessed mine. Nina and or Matthias. Just the dynamic between these two, Matthias's character arc and Nina's like desire for like wanting to bring out the good and like fight for what she believes in and help Matthias on his journey to like kind of the good side of history in a way. I could just reread it over and over. Love. And if you want to hear more, just go listen to our Six of Crows and Cookie Kingdom episodes.
Yes.
Because we go into it. Okay. Trolls.
DreamWorks Trolls movie, you guys.
Yep. Yeah,
or franchise, I should say.
In case you didn't know. Oh, I've only seen the first one.
Me too. I refuse to watch it. The first one just did it so well.
I want to watch the other ones, but I think I just like whatever they're streaming on I don't have. But my niece, she swears that the second or third one or whatever is like so much better. I'm like, you haven't learned the concept of nostalgia yet, so like
that's true. That's
like
a good point. That's a good point.
Okay, I wrote Guy Diamond ?
I almost said that. Wait, I was for sure convinced that you were either gonna say Poppy or Bridget.
Well, okay, I love them all.
Yeah.
But there's just something so random about Guy Diamond. Like, I just love that his name is Guy Diamond. Like, what?
This is gonna make me cry. I don't know why.
Like, okay, yeah, if we're talking, like, actual character, then, yeah, probably Poppy or Bridget. But, like, there's just something about Guy Diamond. He's just so silly. And he does that. He goes, your teeth.
Every time he opens his mouth is so funny, actually.
So I just like love him. I love him. The saddest part about that movie is that my favorite song is like when they're like, when you look in the mirror, let it disappear. And then Bridget like stops the song and we never get to hear the rest of it. And I always wanted to hear more.
That's so tragic.
Anyways, I just thought of it because we were saying Bridget, but
yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna stick with Guy Diamond.
That's a brave choice, and I respect it 100% because I almost put down Guy Diamond also.
Really?
Yeah. But I was like, no, I can't do that. Okay. So famously, I think Laura knows this, but when I first watched Trolls with you, I was very
apprehensive.
Hesitant. Yes, that's a good word for it. Yeah, I was very apprehensive. I didn't think I was going to like it, and then there's this moment in the story where a character has a real like emotional break.
I know exactly where this is going.
And then the whole world goes gray. and one of the trolls, aka Mr. Branch, starts to sing a song called True Colors, and the world gains color again. And when I tell you, I was so impacted by that to the point where I was like about to cry. I was genuinely like, wait, this movie is kind of brilliant, like genuinely beautiful.
Yeah.
And so because of that, and because I tend to love a tortured character, I'm gonna say Branch is my favorite.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
I was so on board for him. I was like, yeah, start out being prickly and then open yourself up to love. That's beautiful. Yeah.
One time, I don't even remember the context, but I was like out in the kitchen like with my roommates, and I was like, because singing killed my grandma, okay? And they all were like, what? And I was like, you guys, come on.
You guys, you don't understand the impact
that so
had.
Good.
That was genuinely shocking. The room was quiet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, who's the character that goes, the craziest party ever?
I was going to say, I
love him.
I thought that you might choose the guy that says, my uncle broke his neck to have that.
I love him. But I couldn't remember his name.
Is it Cooper?
It's Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love him. He's the ugliest character I've ever seen.
He's just like such a random shape compared to the rest of them.
He's like a giraffe. It's like, what are you doing here?
It's kind of so sweet. Like Poppy's little friend group, they're all different shapes and sizes, you know?
Oh, yes.
Like Fuzzbert is just like hair with legs. Like, what? And then there's like the blue guy with the little worm.
Oh my god, the worm! Isn't he played by not the worm, but the blue guy? Isn't that James Corden?
Maybe,
that
I don't know.
That cast is kind of crazy. Like, what's Justin Timberlake doing here? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, okay, we can move on. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry for the trolls antis out there, but that was necessary.
Yeah. Okay. Stranger Things.
Ooh.
This is a big one because there's so many.
I have this one blank, and I was like, I'll come back to that.
No!
It's okay. I think I know my answer.
Okay.
I love them all, and I fear it kind of changes season by season.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wrote.
Yeah, one thing with Stranger Things is like some characters get more focus in one season than others. But I will say I have just like the most insane soft spot for Will Byers.
Mm-hmm.
He has the potential to have the most beautiful, crazy character arc in the world. And I need the Duffers to tap into that.
Yeah.
In season 5, or else I will go crazy. I think, though, just like him in season... Like, okay, and listen, this is Impact. This is called Impact, you guys. Season 1, this boy is in it for...
like 2 scenes.
Literally barely any time at all. No screen time. And yet... the whole story's about him. That's called haunting the narrative.
His name's not even in the the credits that play at the beginning with the important names. He's not even in it.
No. And then season 2, he comes out with the most insane arc, the most crazy journey, acting out the wazoo. I genuinely, I love him in season 2. I love him. I love him. And then he kind of gets paid dust in season 3 and 4, but I know the arc is still there. Well, actually, season 4, he has a kind of really interesting emotional arc, which I appreciate. But I just love him. He just is so much like his mom and his brother. I just love the Byer family in general.
Yeah, the Byers are so well done.
Yeah, they're great. And so, I don't know. I just feel like he's a very soft male character that I like to see.
Yeah.
And so, also, runner-up, I would say Max is she's kind of my girl. And I think season 5 is going to be crazy for her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. No spoilers, but yeah.
I also said Mike and Will in the first 2 seasons. So me and Dan always like to do like our pairings.
Yeah.
So when this show was just 2 seasons, like I was Mike, she's Will.
Yeah.
Which is just like so true for the first 2 seasons, and I just love their dynamic and the way that they're like they're part of the friendship of 4, but like Mike has like kind of a soft spot for Will and like sees when he's like going through the hard times. I guess this is like in season 2. Like when they're trick-or-treating and he's like, well, let's leave because like you're going through something. And then in the 3rd season I said like Max and Elle in the 3rd season. Like I love that we finally get up to like the girl hijinks, you know. Like they're kind of working on the same team. But I had to say, and of course, Joyce, Hopper, Alexi, and Murray.
Season 3.
Basically in season 3, like them 4, like it's crazy that we haven't mentioned any of the like teenagers. Well, I guess you mentioned Jonathan. Yeah. But the thing is I love every character.
Yeah. Yeah, but, every character is our baby.
Which is why I named like 10 different characters. But I think that the dynamic between those 4, I almost just wrote Murray as my one and only favorite character because I just love, I don't know, I love him so much. He's so odd. He's so, and then I love the like dynamic that he has with Alexi and the 4 of them in the car. Like that's one of my favorite kind of parts of the storyline. And regarding season 4, we've only watched it the one time, and I just like don't remember it well enough to like pull out favorites kind of from that season. There's like so many characters though, so
yeah, it's a good point. I was also gonna say, me and you, and not a lot of people feel like this right now, but me and you are like major Mike truthers. Listen, the bond I made with that boy during those first 2 seasons, that was like my younger brother. I was riding or dying for him in ways that you've never seen before. I just loved him in those 2 seasons, and
he literally jumps off the cliff
for his
like
oh
that.
When him and like he finds Will while he's like panicking during trick-or-treating, and they just go back to his house. That was everything to me. Like I thought he was like such a great character in those 2 seasons, and he is going through an arc, I would say, right now. And a lot of people aren't willing to wait out the arc. And me and you, either it's gonna be the best arc we've ever seen,
or it's gonna be embarrassing.
But we're waiting. Yeah, we love you.
We're hopeful. We're hopeful. Interstellar.
Okay,
Throw that one in there.
Yeah, this is tough for me because I've only seen this movie twice, but I do have a favorite character, and I do not play about them. But you should go first because I went first last time.
Okay, the thing is, like, I could have put any character down and argued on anyone's behalf.
Sure.
But I think Anne Hathaway's character, which I think is... Her last name is Brand, right? She's one of the Brands.
I think so.
I think so.
I don't know.
Anyways, Anne Hathaway's character.
Yeah.
The thing is, I so could have said Murph. I so could have said Cooper.
Yeah.
And I absolutely would back those up. But I was thinking, like, okay, but beyond those two, I don't know. I just think, I think that she brings the perspective of the feminine genius to the movie. And she cares about love, and she examines the way that her caring about it is affecting her in the mission. And she like is willing to admit, okay, I do want to go to this planet because that's the man I love, and I want to, like, I want to see if we can save him, basically. And like, I think that she is willing to do this like insane, crazy space mission, but also like allow her feelings to be a part of what drives her, but also not hide that, like she's honest with the other guys. I just love her.
Yeah,
she's also so beautiful.
That's such a good character to pick, because I feel like, at least in my head, I always like, I remember her, and I know she's one of the more important characters, but like I think her strengths often go like fall back to the wayside for like when I'm thinking about the characters I love in this. But she is a very interesting character, and also a genius. So queen. Okay, so mine's kind of boring compared to that, but I love Murph. I think she's
for good reason.
No, I think, okay, so also, and this is no shade, I mean a little bit of shade to Christopher Nolan. I like him a lot as a director. I do think he has a problem with writing female characters. In a lot of his movies, I don't think they're done justice. But then he pulls out something like Murph. And this is one of the most beautiful, interesting, thought out, provoking characters I've ever seen. We see her, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, I don't know, but we see her at essentially every stage of her life.
Yeah.
And we feel like the pain, the determination, the anger, like everything that she has felt because of like the situation that she's been put in, and like the decision that her father decides to make. It's so crazy to me. And I don't know. Maybe skip ahead like 30 seconds if you haven't watched Interstellar. But I think just the fact that as a child to outlive your parent like that, not outlive, sorry, to have your parent outlive you like that,
right,
is the most heartbreaking conundrum I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And she just has so much grace to her, and I don't know, I just love it. I just think it's like,
yeah,
she's just a great character.
I also think Jessica Chastain, did I say that right?
Yeah, she slays.
Brought the character to life, like the adult version, obviously. Like the one where she is like recording the message to her dad, and she kind of is like angry.
Yeah,
she's like, well, I'm the age that you were when you said like maybe when we get back we'd be the same age or whatever. And you can tell she's like mad. Yeah. She's angry at the world, she's angry at her dad, she's angry at this mission.
Yeah.
But she's like kind of holding it back, but you can see it coming through. And then she abruptly ends the message, and the way that she like she cries in a like, you know what I'm saying? Like the acting is just so
impeccable.
Good.
It's one of my favorite performances ever.
Yeah, it's like it's really gut wrenching, and like it's like kind of uncomfortable to watch because it's so genuine. Yeah. So yeah.
And like also that being our like first introduction to adult Murph. Mm-hmm. Incredible. Because like we meet her as this like ambitious like loves her father type of child. Yeah. And like so bright-eyed and like loving. And then we meet her as like not really a total opposite, but just like so much more rougher around the edges. Yeah. And then we just get to explore her from then on out. It's so interesting.
You know what I just like thought about as we've been talking about this is I was thinking about how we were talking to some of the other characters, like they don't necessarily have an arc, they're the same, but they mature through it. Like she is stubborn her entire life.
Yeah.
Like from a child, she's like, no, Dad, it's telling you to stay. Like, don't leave. I told you. And like even her just like getting in the truck and going along for the journey, when like that's a stubborn child. Yeah. And then as an adult, she's like, she never gives up looking for the answer to the gravity equation or whatever, because she's stubborn. She wants to figure it out. And then spoiler, skip ahead 30 seconds. At the end, when her dad finally comes back and he's like, how did you like, why did you never give up hope or whatever? She's like, because my dad promised me. It's like she was stubborn till the end of like, I know my dad will come back because he said he would, so he will. So beautiful. Wow.
It's so good. Wow. This is why Interstellar remains my favorite Christopher Nolan film, because it's all about family and it's all about just the love that you have for the people in your life. And it's so good.
And then it's also just so epic, like the spaceness. I love it.
It's such a insane concept. To this day, I don't know how Christopher Nolan came up with that. That's like insane to me. Yeah. Anyway.
So good. Okay. Disney princess.
Okay. T. Oh yeah. I go first. Okay.
I don't remember. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. What's crazy is like as I was thinking about this, I was like, do I even have a favorite Disney princess right now? It's been so long since I've really thought about it. So when I was younger, it was Belle because of course appearances was very important at the time, and I was like, well, she's got brown hair, me too.
She's a brunette who reads.
Yeah, exactly. That really spoke to me.
Yeah.
But and I mean, I would still say I have like just like the softest spot for her, I think. And I mean, I've definitely grown up and like been like, I do think probably out of all the characters and the princesses, me and her would probably vibe the best if I were to meet her in person. Right. But also, like, I don't know. And this is also one that's, like, I feel like might be a little bit of a cheat because it's newer. But, like, Rapunzel from Tangled.
Duh. Yeah.
She's kind of, like, my girl. I love her. She's, like, to have such an a wide-eyed, strong, brave, determined, and like also kind of like innocent and kind character who like also has had like a very hard life being locked away. That's like horrible. That's really bad. But she never kind of lets that dim her like hunger for life and excitement for everything. And just she's such a pure character for me, and so I'm always gonna love her. So I'll say that. Yeah, those are my two faves.
My favorite since I was a child was Ariel. Like, no questions asked. I wore a Little Mermaid shirt on my first day of 7th grade. When I turned 16, I wore a Little Mermaid shirt to school, and then I came home and unwrapped a gift that was another Little Mermaid shirt from my mom. And I was not wearing these in like a Hot Topic quirky type of way. I was wearing them as like in a little girl princessy way. You know what I mean? I love Ariel. Like, I used to have so much of like my decorations in my room. I don't even know why I was just so drawn to her as a kid. I just would watch that movie over and over. I love it so much. I watched it a couple summers ago at this like thing I was an RA for with these like middle school, high school girls. It's so funny. It's literally so funny. And also, Jodie Benson singing Part of Your World will make me cry. I don't know if we've talked about on the podcast like the newer version. I saw the new version. I liked it. I think there's a lot of really good things going for it, but for me, the original is just, it's so top tier. But in general, it's about like the character. Like, I just love the character Ariel. Yes. And then my second one was Rapunzel. Like, of the newer ones, like, me and my sisters, we went through a time where like we were watching that movie like multiple times a month. Like Tangled. We it's like, oh, it's Friday night and we have nothing to do. Let's go put that movie on.
That is one of, and you know this because you find it, I think, insane, but I'm somebody who I'm not a big rewatcher or like rereader or whatever of things. I could probably list out maybe like 24 things that I can watch over and over and over again. And Tangled is one of those. Like, Tangled is, if I'm stressing out, if I'm having like on the verge of a panic attack type of night or something, I have to put on Tangled. That's the only thing that's gonna calm me down for some reason.
It's so good.
It's truly like the comfort film. So I love it.
I feel like it was the first of kind of the new generation of princesses.
Yeah, so like,
was Brave first, Merida?
Well, Brave is Pixar, so that's not a Disney princess technically. Okay, but it was like Disney, because we had The Princess and the Frog come out in the late 2000s,
right. 2009, I think.
Yes, and Tangled came out 2010 or 11, but that was a real, I think, shift, because
it was the first like 3D.
Yeah, they came out with a different animation style.
Yeah,
and then that kind of, I think, set into gear like a new kind of Disney princess, or at least just like Disney movie era.
Right.
So I think Princess and the, like, I always consider Tiana to be a part of like the classic Disney princesses, and then like starting with Tangled. Yeah. Then we're getting like the more modern day Disney princesses.
Yeah. Cuz it's like, I like love Frozen. I love Moana. And I love like the characters in both of them. Love. Absolutely love. But I think because Rapunzel was kind of, Tangled was like the first, there's something so, I guess maybe nostalgic or so like comforting about like, because it was like, it was so new and special and exciting. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And she's just amazing. So love her.
Love her. Truly. Okay.
Gravity Falls. We love Gravity Falls.
Okay. You go first.
Who's first? Okay, me.
Yeah.
So this was actually maybe one of the hardest ones.
Really?
Yeah, to pick. So I said like besides Dipper and Mabel, because there's no way I could choose between the two.
Okay.
So, I kind of went outside of Dipper and Mabel and outside of the Grunkles.
Okay.
Wendy.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say it. Yeah.
I just love her. I love the older sister vibe that she has, like, not just with Dipper and Mabel, but like with all the kind of kids, and the way that she's like kind of like part of the fam, because she's like, she works at the shack and like she's just there all the time, and like she's so like chill and laid back, and then like whenever something crazy's happening, all of a sudden she's like in fighter mode, and like she's just like so cool, and she also lets her emotions show sometimes, and like I love the way that she also like wants to include Dipper and Mabel when she's like sweet. Hanging out with her teenage friends.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, like they're cool, come on. You know, I don't know, I just love her.
Yeah.
I just love her.
She's such a good character, and she's voiced by Linda Cardellini, and she's one of those actors who I just think, because I've grown up with her and everything, I'm just like, that's so mother. And so I love hearing her voice in like a children's television show, because I'm like, yes. Like, thank you so much for being here. Anyway, so when I wrote down my answer, I thought we were gonna do like this really cute thing where like you're gonna pick one and then I was gonna pick one, and like
sorry,
kind of but like let
me guess.
Yeah,
you said Dipper.
Yes, because I was like, oh, she's gonna say Mabel, but I get not being able to choose between the two. Like I get that. I don't know, I just have always been a Dipper stan, and I don't know why. I just think when I first started watching Gravity Falls, when it was first airing, I was like, if I were 12 and met Dipper, I would be obsessed with him. He's just like the most like adorable character to me. I think he's just so fun, and he's also such a good brother, and I just like, I just have a soft spot for him. I'm just like, he's very precious to me. And so, yeah, I love Dipper. But, I mean, if we're going outside of Dipper, Grunkle Ford.
Well, okay, we knew that was coming.
There's no reason for this one. I just love everything about him.
Yeah.
Grunkle Ford, I'm just like, I think that's actually my dream man. Like, yeah. So, but if I couldn't choose those, I'd say Old Man McGucket.
Yes.
Because he breaks my heart. Yeah. That one's really sad to me.
His storyline,
is really sad. And he's also just consistently funny. He's my favorite lines in the show.
Yeah.
So I just love Old Man McGucket.
Yeah, I was really back and forth on Dipper and Mabel. But if we do our pairing, though, like you're Dipper, I'm Mabel, right? Yeah.
I'm wearing a baseball cap.
So true.
My favorite thing that you've done is for our Gravity Falls episode, you photoshopped our faces onto Dipper and Mabel.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so important to me.
It's
actually.
So us. It's so us. And like like me talking about like being into like Ariel and stuff, and like being kind of little girly for so long, which I still kind of am. I feel like that's so Mabel. Like she's so like unicorns, sparkles.
Yeah,
silliness. She's so silly.
She's always gonna remind me of you, specifically you in like middle school and high school. It just is so true.
When I had every color of skinny jeans.
Yes.
That's like how she has like, it's like all these different sweaters.
Yeah,
like I had all my different colors of jeans. You know?
And trust, she was gonna be wearing them on the theme day, like you wearing your Olaf shirt on the last day of school.
Okay,
it's summer.
Let me tell you guys a story really quick. So I wasn't there on the last day. So in middle school, everyone goes and hangs out with their friends on the last day, and so everyone's like in comfy clothes. Like we were going to like Worlds of Fun and stuff, like a roller coaster park. Well, then you get to high school and everyone dresses to the nines. Well, I didn't know that because I wasn't there on the last day of freshman year because like my family already had a vacation planned. So then sophomore year rolls around, last day of school. I show up in my like denim shorts, my knee-high socks, and my Olaf shirt that says like everything's cool in summer. And everybody else is like in their like cutest summer dress, hair curled, heels on, what? I was literally like so mad. I was like, why did nobody tell me this was happening? So yeah.
But you were on theme.
Yeah.
No one was getting ready for summer like you were.
Yeah, and I also had like hair bows and like the hair flowers.
Yeah.
Like in every color to match every outfit.
Yeah. So true.
So
she was slaying.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite John Green character?
Yeah. Do I go first for this one? I think
please.
So. Again, this is one I think I've definitely mentioned on the podcast. I've had to because we read the book. My favorite character is Aza from Turtles All the Way Down. And so not to get too much into this because I've already mentioned it, but I just find her to be the most relatable John Green character for me personally.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like what John Green, like that's why so many people love John Green, is because the characters are so relatable and like human for teenagers. And so I love her. I love what I saw in her when I first read the book at like 18 or something, and then I love what I still was able to get from her character reading it in my 20s and like very a bit past that age.
Yeah.
She's great. I just think she's a character who just has a lot of life left to live, and like I want nothing but great things to happen for her in the future, and I love that she's just a very caring individual, even though she doesn't see herself as that. Like, she has a very low, I think, confidence in who she is as a person, but throughout the book you see, like, you as a reader are able to see so much beautiful traits in her. I don't know, I found her to be a very optimistic character ultimately at the end. So nice. I love that. Thank you, John Green, for writing that character. So I love it.
We are John Green stans on this.
Sorry, guys.
So I've read like so many of the John Green books. I was trying to think widely, but it's been a while since I've read some of them. So one name that like popped out to me was Isaac from The Fault in Our Stars.
Yes.
And I can't really speak too much on it because I honestly don't remember that much, but I just remember when I was reading it and when I watched the movie that I just really liked the character Isaac.
Yeah.
So
he's like the comedic relief of The Fault in Our Stars, and I think that's so needed for a story like that. Yeah.
So that's my pick. But I don't have much to elaborate on. I just remembered while I was reading it, like I was always excited when, Isaac was showing up in the scene.
True. That's a good pick, actually. And like I was obsessed with him in the movie.
Yeah.
I was so obsessed. Yeah. So I get it.
Love.
I get it.
Lemonade Mouth.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, you can go first.
Okay. Wendell.
Oh my god, okay. Wait, that's so exciting. Okay.
I just feel like, okay, this is another one where it's like, I could have picked any of the core 5 and argued for any of them because I love them all.
True.
But I feel like Wen is just like so iconic because he's so like, he's almost like aloof in a way. Like he's just like, like, I don't know. I think he is like, well, let's just name the band Wen, like just all those little remarks where he's like kind of goofy, and he's kind of going through a hard time at home with like the divorce and the remarry. But I think I also really like how his character brings out things in Olivia.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
So I like how he kind of not bookends her, but like they're dynamic, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like the way that his character pulls Olivia out more.
Yeah. He kind of is what starts, I think, her real character development throughout the movie, and I think that's great.
And I don't know, I think he's kind of a little bit of a brat sometimes.
Yeah.
But I like that because I think it's very real of like a teenage boy, like any of them. Just they're teenagers, like they're gonna roll their eyes and be mad and kind of argue with each other. And I just think that his character is well done, and I also just think he's like fun and goofy, and he raps amazing. So.
It's when
wait, did I tell you this? That one time he was on TikTok Live or Instagram Live, and I made my name be like, my name was like Laura B or something on there, and I was like, hi, whatever, and he was like, what's up, Laura B? I was like, he said my name on the live.
Hi, Adam.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Yeah, that's so funny. No, I'm actually so surprised you said when, because for some reason I was convinced you were gonna say Bridget. But you know what? This works out well because my favorite character was Bridget. And
Olivia.
So, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I can't believe I said Bridget. I feel so foolish. You guys, I own the vinyl. Like, I'm a real stan, I promise.
Yeah.
Anyway, Olivia is my girl. I remember just because, okay, so Lemonade Mouth came out when Laura and I were in, like, what, 6th grade? We were young.
Yeah, we were young.
We were in peak Disney Channel days. So, Lemonade Mouth and Olivia and Lemonade Mouth, I felt like was, like, one of the first, and I mean, you guys, if you guys were around for like very classic Disney Channel when like we were getting like the real hard hitting stories back in like the early 2000s, you might say differently, but for the era of Disney, I was shocked at the depth of like her story.
Yeah.
Like her dad was in prison, and they don't really get into it, but I was just like, wow, that's like whoa, I've never like considered having that reality as like an 11-year-old. And just like her living with her grandmother, and like the last thing she has with her mom is her dying cat, and it's like her story is like so sad to me. And while it seems in some ways like, you know, like having a dying pet maybe isn't the most dramatic crazy thing to happen in someone's life, but like in the story it feels so heartbreaking. And like it gives so much purpose and like just so much understanding, I think, as a young kid to like really tap into like Olivia's character. I don't know, I think she's just great. And also I was a very shy kid as a child. I still am very shy. I don't think I'm ever gonna grow out of that, which is fine, but like I was a shy kid who like loved performing. Like I was a theater kid for a good chunk of my childhood. And so seeing like Olivia be someone who's able to get over things like her stage fright and her anxiety, it's like really motivating and kind of like lovely to see as a kid. I really latched onto her because of that. And Bridget Mendler is just everything. You guys, she's perfect. I have not one bad thing to say about her, specifically in this role. She says. So yeah. That's my favorite.
Yeah. And with the cat dying, to tie it back into Wind, like that gives him the opportunity to make that gesture of like giving her the new cat, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's so sweet. Okay.
And also, so like Lemonade Mouth is like famously a movie that's not about the romance, right? Like we don't need a huge romantic scene between those two characters. But essentially him giving her the cat acts as like, I think they're like a final kiss moment in the way, and it speaks so loud. It's just like it moved me to tears as a kid. I was like, yes, this is so true.
Sweet.
Yeah, I just love it. Anyway,
yes. Okay, we got a couple more in the Disney Channel realm. Teen Beach Movie. This is the OG founding father of our friendship. Like, you know what? This is what started it all.
I think we need to actually have a whole Disney Channel episode, me and you, where we just can like talk about our favorite stuff.
That's a good idea.
Because like genuinely, like you guys, we talked about this in the very first episode we've ever put out, but my relationship was founded on Disney Channel.
Yeah. Because we you and I, like, we were friends since, like, elementary school, but we really became close around, like, 8th, ninth grade.
Yeah.
Which was when most people were phasing out
out
of Disney Channel. And we were...
we were going strong. We were like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. That is such a good idea, like a DCOM episode or something.
Yes,
okay.
That would be that'd be fun. Okay, anyway,
so
back to it.
Teen Beach Movie. I think it's your turn to go first.
Okay. I didn't write down one for this one, so I have to.
I can go first if you want me to.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, and then maybe I can go?
I said Tanner.
Whoa, really?
Yes. Wait, why is that so shocking?
I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
So Teen Beach Movie, my favorite is Tanner because I feel like he's so silly and sweet, and like he's so Ken, like Barbie's Ken.
That is so
you know
true.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just so like perfect and smiley and like yeah, that's what girls like. You know, I don't know. I just love how he's just kind of silly. Which like okay. Really, maybe my favorite is actually Ross.
Brady.
Mm-hmm. Especially when he's singing, "You gotta run, run, run," because here we come. Like that whole dance scene. Like, okay, yeah, love. But I just feel like there's something so fun about Tanner and like the over the top stereotypical like surfer dude who like doesn't really have a brain. All that's in there is like beach and waves and sand and sun. I don't know, I just think it's so fun. And the one where they're like they're going through the towels and they're like, oh gee, plan B, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And whenever it's on Tanner and he's like, oh gee, or whatever his line is in there, he flashes a little smile and it's like his smile sparkles or something. I don't know. I think he's just so fun.
We have to watch Teen Beach Movie again. It's just like really hitting me now that it's actually very crucial.
Yeah, which Kevin
Chamberlain in it.
is in that. So,
and unfortunately, I could not care less about the adult the adults in the story. But like, I get he's used to serve the conflict.
I literally like whenever I sent Dan that picture and then she was like, oh yeah, and he's in Teen Beach Movie too, I was like, I legit forgot. Like I always forget about the plot of Teen Beach Movie. It's just like the surf and the bikers and the songs.
My favorite thing about these two movies for us personally is I don't think either one of us will ever recognize them as like masterpieces or even like Disney Channel's best. like Lemonade Mouth to me, I'm like that's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But Teen Beach Movie's got a little bit of stink on it.
They have some scenes that they
could
have shot that one more time.
But for some reason we love it. Yeah. Well, because like the musical numbers do slay for me personally. Yeah. So I love it. But like really as a whole, I don't. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. Well, was that everything you had to say?
Yeah. So who's your fave?
I mean, I guess my fave would be Brady.
I thought you might say Mac.
You know, and I almost said Mac. Mac is a tough character, though, because I feel like I didn't understand so much of her hesitancy throughout the movie. She just got a little, and this is going to sound mean, but, like, for me, I was like, there are moments where I'm annoyed with her, where I'm like, just get into character. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I think if I were to be in this situation, aka sucked inside of a 1960s classic, I would just be like Brady and be like, I love this scene.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just find Brady so endearing. Like, the part where he just, like, joins their, like, little roll call number.
Yeah.
It's so good. But I do love Maya Mitchell's performance as Mac. Yeah. I think she's a good straight man, I think. But, yeah, that's my answer. Do you remember the end of Teen Beach Movie 2? Why we've only seen it once.
Yeah, you mean how it's like the movie becomes like Layla, Queen of the Beach or whatever?
Yeah, but like
the movie is rewritten basically, and then they're not dating.
Yeah, so it basically is like we have two whole movies of just like change and growth and story, and then by the end it's almost like it's not like this, but it's like it was all a dream, like nothing matters.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Did we watch Teen Beach Movie 2 together?
Yeah, because okay, so I remember it aired in the summer, but I think you were out of town or I was out of town, and for something happened where we couldn't watch it until like October. And we were like, we have to watch Teen Beach Movie, we have to watch Teen Beach Movie. So like you came over and we watched it after like hyping it up so much. and then we were like, are you kidding? Oh, we were so angry.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever watched it since then.
I watched it the one time. Some of the songs kind of bop though. If it comes on my Spotify, I'll be like, yeah, I'll listen. But like, it's no Teen Beach Movie 1.
Yeah, no.
And there's a reason why there wasn't a third, you guys.
Yeah, like it didn't have the High School Musical. Like
no, none of that juice. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Last but certainly not least.
No.
Phineas and Ferb.
Okay. Do I go first? I guess
sure.
I go first. Who's my favorite Phineas and Ferb? You know, I have a real soft spot for Isabella, I would say. I think she's so sweet, and I understand her determination to get the boy that she loves to love.
I was
her
gonna
back.
say because she's a yearner. She loves to yearn.
Oh yes, she's so fun. And also, when the series first came out, I was obsessed with Alison Stoner. To me, Alison Stoner, there's like a collection of childhood stars to me that when I was a kid, I was convinced that they were on the road to an Oscar. And like Alison Stoner for me was like, that was my Meryl Streep. Like she was really giving her all.
She was everywhere in Disney.
She was everything to me. Oh my God. So I was like so obsessed with her being in Phineas and Ferb. And so I love her. But like if we're talking like reels, you know, I don't know. Maybe Phineas is my main boy. Like,
really?
I don't know. I think there's something about, and here's what I love about Phineas and Ferb's characters. There's something about a boy character, specifically when I was a kid, who constantly was a nice person that really struck something in me.
Yeah.
And it's just so refreshing to see.
Yeah.
And I really loved him for that.
Wait, that's so true.
He's just a nice guy. And like there are times where he's sassy. Like he definitely is kind of running a little bit of the sassy boy Olympics.
Yeah.
in that show. But like for the most part, I just love that he's like constantly a kind person.
That's actually like, so Kelly and I love the Phineas and Ferb movie. Like we would watch that all the time. Like anytime we wanted to have like a sleepover, we're like, let's watch that movie. And we both really like, it is really jarring to us when
he gets
this
mad.
Is kind of spoilers. Yeah, but he gets mad at Perry and he's like, why didn't you tell us? And now that you're saying that, I'm like, it's because he never has raised his voice before.
No. It's
so
like, jarring.
He never was like mad at anybody until that point.
Yeah.
I wrote my favorite is Candace.
I knew it. And I knew you were going to say that.
She's so bestie to me. One of my favorite parts is when she like Jeremy is going on like a college tour and because I think Jeremy's a year older than her and she's like, oh my gosh, next year like he's going to college and I'm just some little girl sitting here in this nursery. It's the way she says nursery and she's like looking at her teddy bear. She's like, hi, I'm 5. She's so funny to me.
Ashley Tisdale has the comedic chops of a younger Robin Williams. You know, like genuinely, she's so good.
Yeah.
She's so good.
Yeah. I just love like I don't know. I just love her, and I think her and Stacey are so fun, and her and Jeremy are so sweet.
Yeah.
And like I love that she has a goal and she's going after it, you know?
It's so true. And you know what? As a kid, I was always on Candace's side, even though I loved the hijinks. I really was like, she is being a little bit gaslit right now.
Yeah.
But that's the point. That's the fun.
Yeah.
You guys.
And like, I saw someone describe like the Phineas and Ferb show, and they were like, the bratty older sister, and it's like, no, she was not a brat.
How dare you?
She wasn't.
If you're coming out of Phineas and Ferb hating any of the characters, are you watching it correctly? Even Doofenshmirtz, he's a contender for top character for me.
The only characters that I don't like are Thaddeus and Thor, if you remember them. Don't like them.
The way I don't really remember them. I was going to say
they're in one episode.
Jeremy's little sister is tough for me.
True, little Susie.
Yeah, she's a tough one. But for the most part, I love them all.
Yeah, I can't remember if I already mentioned this on the pod, but I watched one time I think it's like season 3 or season 4 of Phineas and Ferb, like years after it was already out. But apparently it was like this season that was mostly aired on Disney XD, which like I didn't have a fancy TV. So like there was these episodes I'd never seen before. And I could tell they were made for the boy audience because Candace was way more like annoying, like, and way more like, I'm a teenage girl and I'm going to be on my cell phone and meet with my friend and my boyfriend. And way less of like what I know Candace to be, which is like a girl with a goal.
Sure.
And I was like, I don't like this because they're playing into like the stereotype that the young boys are going to find their older sister annoying. Yeah. And I'm like, you're taking away like that's not who Candace is. You know what I mean?
I would love to hear the Phineas and Ferb creators' thoughts on this because, well, first of all, guys, I just read a really interesting book called Disney High, and it's basically all about the rise and the fall of like famous Disney Channel stars throughout like the 2000s. Basically the girls, and they were mostly the actresses who made and broke Disney Channel, you know. Anyway, but it's so interesting because like Disney does have a very large gap in like their market as far as like mostly it's girls who are watching the channel, and that's why they created Disney XD, was to get a more strong boy audience and kind of create that distance between like boys don't want to watch a girly channel like Disney Channel, like they want their own thing. And so, but I know that so many creators were very like they were kind of pigeonholed into doing things because Disney was kind of telling them that they should do it, and a lot of creators like tried fighting back. And a lot of people were scared to fight back. And so I wonder if this was like something that like the creators of Phineas and Ferb were kind of like forced to do in order to like get the boy audience to kind of relate more to the story. But like, you know, that's not their real take on it because they wrote Candace to be a multi-layered character that isn't supposed to be seen as like super annoying.
Right. Like I feel like it was like these new episodes, like new to me episodes were like, oh, she's always praying for the downfall of Phineas and Ferb. And it's like, that's really not that, like, even though she wants them to get busted, it's because she wants to be believed. That's the whole driving goal. Yes. It's not about like really getting them in trouble. It's about she's seeing these things and she feels crazy because no one else is seeing them. But I feel like in some of those episodes it's like, oh, like Candace is trying to like get in their way and stop them. Like there was just like a different vibe to it.
I don't like that.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Like that.
Yeah.
Well, dang. Disney.
But there's new season coming out.
I know, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Gravity Falls, take notes. Take notes. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should watch that or just discuss.
Yeah. True. Okay. That is the list that we came up with of like our random things that we both love.
Yeah, I hope other people were like,
hope you guys liked it. And of course, feel free to comment or send us an email at readthelastpagebookclub@gmail.com if you want to tell us any of your favorite characters from these things and why. Or you don't even have to say why. You can just say who it is. Or you can send a paragraph. Whatever.
True.
But yeah, stay tuned for possibly a Patreon, maybe. Maybe a Discord. We'll see.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see. No promises. But we are coming up on 1 year.
So maybe after our book club, we'll be having a mega massive cool episode. We'll see.
Yeah. I've started our book club book. The House and the Cerulean Sea, and so far I'm really liking it. Not super far, but yeah. So I'm excited about that one.
I started it yesterday, and
cool.
I'm only like 2 chapters in, but so far I'm like really intrigued because I think I'm finding it to be really reminiscent of a lot of my like other favorite pieces of media, or just like things I'm nostalgic for. So I feel like it's gonna be really like heartwarming kind of nostalgic read to me. So I'm interested.
Yay.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening to Read the Last Page. Our music and illustrations were created by the amazing Sage Timothy.
If you don't know our schedule yet, we host a book club episode once a month. And this month we are reading The House and the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. So if you want to join us for our spoiler-filled discussion of that book, make sure you pick it up if you haven't already. And you can look out for that episode on the first Friday of April.
Before we get to the last page, though, we want to say thanks for listening. You can find us on your podcast platform of choice, or if you'd rather watch your podcast, you can find us on YouTube at Read the Last Page, and we're also on TikTok and Instagram. And for now, we want to say bye from B
and Dan.
Bye.